All right, guys, I think it's starting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, welcome. I think I might have said welcome a lot of times because I thought it had started. Anyway, Lori Dotson with Empowered Abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Life Collective. I'm so freaking excited to share with you guys what I want to train on today. And one of the things that I think is so cool and fascinating is, wow. I was just about to say something. I'm like, wow, that sounds really bad. Because I'm like, this is so cool. But I think it's really cool when things that are supposed to work a particular way don't work that way. The reason I think that's so cool is because then I get to discover why it doesn't work the way I think it's supposed to work based on what I've been told, right? And so, excuse me, that's kind of how my journey started, because I was one of those kids that, as much as I think I was a little rebellious, excuse me, as much as I think I was a little rebellious, in the outside world, I followed the rules, right? I paid my taxes. I recorded my stuff properly. I paid my tickets on time. I paid my bills. I was never late. I never didn't pay things. I was so overly uber responsible, right? And I did the right things as far as not buying a car that was out of my budget. Not buying a house that was out of my budget, right? Making good choices in life. And I made all the choices. Like, I went to college, I did the thing, right? I did all the things that I had been told my whole life. Do these things and you'll be happy. Do these things and you'll be happy. I did all the things. I wasn't happy. Right? And when I got to the end of my rope with having everything in the physical world that I could possibly engage with, and still not happy, it was like that was my moment of breakdown. And I ended up, sorry, I'm kind of a talking head, but it's because I'm going to write something on here, but right now I'm not. So, where a lot of people would say I had an emotional breakdown, or I had a psychic breakdown, or whatever, but that genuinely was the moment that I would call my awakening. And depending on your bent, I would say that's when I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. Goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm so hiccupy or burpy or whatever that is. And what happened to me was this internal shift. Like, I woke up to my understanding that I can actually have a personal relationship with God, right? And to me, it was like I just started talking to him, right? It was like, that's what you do when you're a Christian, because that's how I was raised. So that's what you do when you're a Christian, is you just, talk to God. And so I started talking to God, and I just thought, oh, well, this is what happens when you actually get born again, right? Because I had asked Jesus into my heart. I grew up in the church. I'd done all the things, right? But I was like 38 years old. No, I wasn't 38. However old I was. I was that old when this happened. And maybe I was 34. I was 34. And I just thought everybody talks to God like this, right? And then I started having conversations with people, and they're like, oh, no, I don't talk to God like that. I'm like, oh, man, that's so weird, because this is so cool, right? And then I did all the right things again. I went to church. I tithed. I went to Bible study. I started teaching Bible studies. I married a pastor, for goodness sake. And we did all the right things, right? We didn't have sex before we got married, even though we both had sex before that. Like, we didn't have sex before we got married. Like, we did it all right. And though my life was different from the perspective that I had an internal joy that was like I couldn't deny that something was different about me, I did not have the external external life happiness, right? So everything I had when I wasn't happy externally, and then internally I was happier, and like I knew who I was in Christ, or at least at the time I thought I knew who I was in Christ. And but yet my external life was not the way that I had envisioned it was supposed to be when I follow all the rules and do all the right things, right? And so I got to a point where I'm like, this is fucked up, right? Because I do not understand, like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with the fact that I'm following all the freaking rules, right? Well, then I had this moment of time where somebody said something about energy, and I was like, what? Wait, okay, I'd heard that was demonic, but like, tell me more. Because it was answering the questions that I was wondering about in my mind, right? And then I went on this journey of personal development or spiritual development, right? Different than the experience I had had in the church. But definitely just this new understanding of how everything worked, right? How the universe worked. And I ran into this thing called the law of attraction, right? And as I'm learning the law of attraction, I'm like, well, this is just reaping and sowing. This is the same thing that Jesus taught, only just different words, right? And however, there was a little bit more instead of less behavior to do things right, it was about focusing and like intending and what did I believe could happen more than just my behavior, right? And so I started applying the law of attraction, and you guys, it works, right? Like, it was so cool. Just like my life worked until it didn't. And then church worked until it didn't. And then my spiritual growth worked, guys, until it didn't, right? I hit a point even where the law of attraction, I'm like, it's not working the way that it was working before. And here's back to now the really cool part about that, you guys, is because it made me go, what the fuck? Like, I want to understand, right? All these people are telling me what to do and how to do it, and it works for a minute and then it doesn't work, right? So I went on another whatever kind of journey that was next, right? But I started learning about consciousness, and which was even a little bit deeper than just the law of attraction, right? It was about our really like something that's beyond my mind, my human physical understanding of my brain and my mind, right? This consciousness thing. And as I continued to move through my journey, going, okay, but that doesn't make sense. Okay, but why that? Okay, but I'm doing this and I'm intending that, and but this thing, and I know this, but right? And then I started realizing that there's so much more behind the scenes. And again, if you've been in this container for even 5 minutes, you've heard me say, and then I had this download of the fact that we're 100% human and 100% spirit, right? And I taught that for a little while, and then it expanded, right? Now, I still teach that, right? But at first, I'm like, we're human and spirit. There's two sides of us, right? And then it expanded to understanding, okay, but there's human and spirit, but then there's like the upper echelons and the lower echelons. Well, and then there's the front and the back and the inside and the outside, like, and it just continued to evolve, right? It didn't change what I was teaching, except for from the perspective of it evolved. It got cooler and deeper and made me understand things even more. And then I got this download of, and this part of it isn't the download, right? Like, people talk about consciousness, and there's 4 states of consciousness. Now, people talk about that, but the download I got was really the alchemy of our identity, right? And so I dove into that and started like looking at things that like God was showing me compared to what other people were teaching, and it just started revealing more. And then just recently, I got a download of how the law of attraction is different for everyone, right? Now, that would seem like, well, that's obvious because if we have different consciousnesses, different states of consciousness, right? But shouldn't a law apply equally to everyone? Like, okay, nobody kill. Okay, well, nobody like the law of gravity. It doesn't matter who you are if you jump off the building, right? And actually, you guys, it's really funny. I used to teach that. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I used to teach like the law of attraction is never not in action, and it doesn't care, right? It works regardless if you're nice, if you're not nice, if all of the things, right? It's unconditional. And but what's come through just recently is how one of our principle or one of our practices in MFRE is that everything is relative to us, right? So what does that mean? It means that if I'm in kindergarten and I can read Constantinople, like I'm killing it, right? But if I'm maybe a PhD and I can't read Constantinople, then maybe there's something like amiss, right? Everything's relative to me. So even though Constantinople is just a word and reading is reading, right? Why should it be different? Well, in relationship to where we're at, right? Which makes total sense, right? But this is what's been really cool, is the law of attraction is also relative to the state of consciousness that we're in. And guys, here's what else is really cool. Here's what else is really cool. I can be in a different state of consciousness in different areas. So my state of consciousness in money can be XYZ. And my state of consciousness in relationships can be PDQ. And what's interesting is the law is so intuitive, right? And this is why I think it's so cool that, even though the law in itself is unconditional, it works within the framework of the identity of God, which is us, as well, right? Which means it's relational. What? So cool. Okay. I'd have never said those words before, but it's really cool. Okay. So let me break down what it is that I mean about that. Okay, are you guys ready? Oh, so I don't think I finished this thought. So I might have let's go back to the kindergarten PhD. I might have a level of consciousness around the topic of money as a kindergartner. But my level of consciousness around relationships is, did I say kindergarten? Kindergarten around money. And maybe my relationship to, or my consciousness, my state of consciousness functions in the PhD level of relationships, right? So now if I'm trying to intend something, if I'm trying to set an intention, if I'm trying to set a goal for something that has to do with money or something that has to do with a relationship, I actually have to function within the law differently. What? Are you guys geeking out as much as I am right now? Okay, so let me tell you how that works. Okay. Is this going to show a mirror image? You know what? All of a sudden I'm like, oh no. Okay, you guys can see that. But you can't see it very good. Okay, so I'm going to do my best. Let me see if I have another color. Hold, please. Let's see if you guys can see this better. Oh, you see that worse. Oh, wait. Maybe because it's too high? Oh, yeah, it's too high. Okay, try this. Okay. This will be good. You guys will figure it out. You're smart. Okay, ready? So, state one. Now, guys, here's where we get jacked up, right? Because what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to show you, most people would teach it linearly, okay? But guess what, guys? Consciousness is not linear unless we're talking about it in relationship to my human. Because the laws of the human are linear, but the laws of the spirit are non-linear, which means consciousness has an aspect of linear and non-linear, right? And so when we're looking at consciousness in the states, it's non-linear. Now, the fullness of me and the understanding of my identity is definitely a trajectory, right? That I think is well, and you know what? For this 5 minutes, I think that's true. Ask me in another 5 minutes, I'll get another download and I'll blow myself away with something new. Okay, so what I'm explaining to you, if somebody else was explaining some of the same things, they might tell you this is linear, okay? But if we base what I'm about to talk about on a linear scale, then it doesn't answer all the questions. And that's what's so cool about the way that God works in my mind, is he gives me things that will answer any question. Any question. That's the ultimate truth. Right now, again, what I'm saying isn't the ultimate truth. An understanding and the framework is the truth. Okay, and part of the truth is that nothing is true. Okay, never mind. So I digress. Okay, ready? State one. Okay, about 76% of people in general function in this state. Now, again, I could be in my life in general functioning in state one, but my money mindset, my money consciousness might be over here in state 4. Cool, right? Are you guys geeking out? God, I'm so on fire about this. Okay, so in this state, I am cognitively only aware, and you guys, this is just coming through. This is super new. So if I teach this next week, I might tweak some of the words, but just feel me out, okay? I'm consciously, cognitively aware of my human, and my cause and effect is functioning from, so my cause and effect is functioning from my human power. Oh wait, I'm gonna do it this way. My physical power. Okay? Can you guys see that? Oh yeah, see, this is where I was gonna go. Hey, I'm gonna lift that up. Okay, so state one, 76% of us and 76, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. 76% of us as a whole. Okay, I'm gonna teach it one way, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna give the caveats. That's good. 76% of the world currently right now is functioning in state one of consciousness, where we're aware of our human, and our cause and effect is functioning through our physical power. Okay? Now, this is not good or bad, right or wrong. It just is. Okay? So, phase 2, or not phase, state 2, because again, originally when I learned it, and actually even when I teach it in our four phases, we call them phases, because when I first learned it, I thought it was linear, because that was as much as my consciousness could comprehend, right? Okay, so here there's about 16% of the population that function here, okay? Oh, and let me tell you this. Here was my spiritual awakening, okay? Here was where I met Jesus for the first time. I'm going to church, I'm doing the things, I'm understanding, like, you know, God and Jesus, right? They're all the things people have told me, right? But then I had this awakening, an awakening where now I'm aware of the spiritualness. Wait, is that right? Hold on, guys. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm following myself. Again, guys, this is new. Okay. So I'm aware that there's something spiritual power out there, right? Now, awareness being an embodiment. Here, I don't have an embodiment of it, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was like, okay, God, thank you for forgiving my sins. Jesus come into my heart. And I woke up the next day a different person, right? In this moment, I woke up a different person. I understood that I was a spiritual being, right? So I had that awakening into that, okay? So, and now my cause and effect is still from my physical power, right? Okay, so what does that mean? It means that now I go to church and that's the right thing. Right? And I think differently. I think about God instead of thinking about getting drunk. Right? I'm thinking differently. The way that I'm processing my thoughts are different because now I'm awake to this spiritualness of me. Okay? However, my cause and my effect is still based on what I do, based on what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking, don't have sex with people who aren't your spouse. Okay, cool. Like here, did somebody tell me it's wrong to have sex with people who aren't your spouse? Yes. Did I do it anyway? Yes. Yes. Here, I didn't. Here, I still knew, hey, don't have sex with people who aren't your spouse, right? But my ability to choose my behaviors was different, right? But I was still choosing my behaviors based on don't do that, that's wrong. Okay? Now, third is about 7% of the population. Okay? In this phase, now I have an awareness that I'm a human, right? Here I'm like, oh, it's just all spirit and it's just all Jesus and it's just all God and nothing else in the human matters, right? And then in this third, I go, wait a minute. Actually, guys, it does matter. It does matter because you know what? I can be all spiritual and maybe my bills aren't getting paid, right? I can be like, oh, okay, God, you're going to take care of it. But now remember, I might be thinking that God will take care of it, but I'm still believing that my cause and effect is coming from my physical power. Yes? So then I recognize, okay, this isn't working. So now and this was this was church for me. I'm using all of this, guys. This is my reality. This is my understanding. This is my jam. Okay? This becomes now church for me. Okay? Then somebody teaches me about energy work. Right? And then I go, holy crap. What is this magic? Now, I'm aware of my human because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I put off the dollars. I put off, pursuing physical things and materialistic things, right? So now I'm like, okay, let's fuck it up a little. Let's make some money, right? However, now I'm functioning. My cause and effect actually is powered by spiritual laws, spiritual power, right? Now I'm aware of my human experience, right? That I want physical things, and what I'm doing is my effort is not any longer over here. My effort now, or not any longer, my effort isn't any longer in what I do. Now it's about how I process, how I think. Guys, are you ready for this? As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Now, there's a lot of these principles that I've been applying in my life. But there's been some things that weren't working. And I was freaking pissed because I didn't understand. Now I understand. Okay? So, Then, now, 1% of the population functions here. Now, I will always have an awareness, as long as I have a physical body, I'll always have an awareness of my physical body, but I no longer have a physical need for anything. So now my awareness is spiritual, and my cause and effect is spiritually powered. Okay, can you guys see that? Oops, wrong way. Oh, look, I kind of went because it's getting further away. Okay, now, guys, if somebody else was teaching this, they would teach you a couple of different things. Okay, they would teach you that this state is the state of things are happening to me. In this state, things are happening for me, right? Okay, God, do this for me. Here, things are happening through me. Yes, so, okay, God, I understand that I have the power in me, right? I have the power of Christ in me. It's moving through me, right? And then here, it's actually as me, right? Now, when they teach this, they would teach you, most people are here, then we get saved, and then we evolve, and whatever. And this last fourth state is actually reserved for like the Jesuses and the gurus and the masters. Guys, but I read this book. It's called the Bible, and it's a story about Jesus, who was the ultimate master. I mean, not everybody believes that, but I believe that, the ultimate master. And he said, everything I can do, you can do, and more. And so why am I limiting? Why am I arguing for my limitation that I can't actually get to this spot? That I can't actually live heaven on earth? Because that's what Jesus invited me into. Right? So good. So good. Now I'm going to give you guys the caveat. Because this I understood, right? Because guys, remember it was linear. Oh yeah, that's why I used to teach it linear. And I understood it linear. And it worked for a while. And then it stopped. And here's now what I'm learning. This is actually cyclical, right? But it's not cyclical. Okay, it's cyclical as my identity, right? As the whole of me. But it's also cyclical in different areas. Okay, not cyclical. Hold on. Okay. It's cyclical in my evolution of my identity. Where it can stop being cyclical is when I arrive at this point, but I'm going to arrive at this point in a particular area of my life. Okay? So like I was saying before, let's just pretend for shits and giggles, this is like, don't take offense to this, but I'm going to call this kindergarten, we'll call this fourth grade, we'll call this high school, we'll call this PhD, just for the sake of communicating. Okay? So I could, in my identity as the evolution of my humanness, could be right here. I'll be in 7th grade. Okay? But my money consciousness might be a PhD. And my relationship consciousness might be kindergarten. Or I might be right here in the consciousness of who I am, my identity, and my money mindset could be a PhD. Do you see how this answers all the questions? And guys, do you want to know why this is so freaking cool? Say, why, Lori? Why is this so cool? Well, I'm about to tell you. Because this is where grace, this is where relationship, and this is where the human experience gains all its value. Because guys, maybe I came to the planet to be a PhD in my relationships and never, ever, ever be a PhD in money. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe I came here to be this much in my all the way over here in my identity, but maybe my money is all the way over here, and maybe I stay that way. Right? I kind of feel like that, like, because I do have such clear communication between God and he's given me so much wisdom, I do feel like I'm probably closer over here in my identity and the understanding of the whole. But I would say that my money mindset really is still over here. Like, it's still based in my efforts. Now, guys, this isn't about how much money you have. This is about the ease of money flowing through you. Okay? So somebody can be a billionaire, and their consciousness in money could still be here because maybe it's effortful and it's like it's so much responsibility and it's so hard, and they constantly have to be on guard to make sure all their money is in exactly the right place because maybe they have a lot of money, right? However, everything is rooted through their physical power of it. Yes? There's other people, guys, whom I met this guy one time, homeless guy. And we were chatting it up, and he told me he was homeless by choice. I'm like, dude, why would you want to be homeless by choice? And he's like, I don't really want to pay taxes, and I don't really want the responsibility of taking care of a house. And he said, I travel all over the United States, and I do whatever I want, and I meet people like you, and I just like do life, and it's amazing. I'm like, okay, but what about like food and shit? What about when it's cold? He goes, it's always there. Somebody gives me food. Somebody gives me a coat. Somebody offers me to stay somewhere. I think at one point in time he said, I can't remember what the really super fancy hotel is, but at one point in time, like somebody had gotten him a room at this super fancy hotel. And he's like, for me, it didn't matter that it was fancy. It was a night in a bed, and it was no big deal. And it was no different than if I had slept on the concrete. Dude, that is a level of like that spiritual awareness of, dude, nothing is better or worse. It just is. And if I need food, it shows up. And if I want a cup of coffee, it shows up. And that's how he lived his life. Yet, he had no dollars, a backpack. That's how he lived. Right? But this is what's so cool. And this is, I think, what's so fascinating about this for me is because this to me is really what Jesus was talking about. And dude, oh my gosh, I'm about to cry right now. And how I never put this together ever. So weird. That dude was like Jesus, right? Jesus just walked around and he's like, hey, the Son of God doesn't have a bed, and he doesn't have a house, and he doesn't have like his own shoes or whatever. I don't know. I'm good at knowing the energy of the book, but not the details, right? But he never like carried around money. He like, it came and it went, and it came and it went. And if he needed it, he'd go down and get it out of the fish's mouth, right? That is that 1%, which is why when you think about it like that, when you think about, oh, the way Jesus lived and the way this dude lived, that dude definitely a 1%er, right? But we think 1%ers are the billionaires, right? Isn't this fascinating, you guys? This brings so much like emotion to me because it does a couple of things. One, you know, all through the New Testament, well, all through the Bible, it says you can't judge people by their behavior. You can't judge people by the outside. You can only judge them by the inside. Oh, and by the way, you can't see it. You don't know why they came to the planet, right? That dude, so many people, he would tell me all the awful things people would say to him about like how he was homeless and how he was a detriment to society, and he was, oh, not detriment, what's the like he brought down society, like he was, whatever that is, whatever that word is, right? He was a menace to society, if you will, because he was homeless. Yet he was clean, he was polite, he was one of the nicest people I ever met. I learned so much from him, right? And so the world would look at him and go, oh, yeah, something's wrong with you, homeless. Yet, we're all over here living paycheck to paycheck in the rat race, doing the thing, trying to get to the state of happiness that dude consistently was in. What? I think about Michael somebody. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe put it in the chat. But you guys will know who I'm talking about. He wrote The Untethered Soul. But he didn't stop there. He also wrote a book called Living a Life of Surrender, or The Surrender Experiment. The Surrender Experiment. That's what it's called. And he basically was just like, okay, universe, whatever you bring me, I'm just going to trust whatever you bring me. He ended up making a multi-billion-dollar company by accident. I mean, like, he did it on purpose, but he didn't ever try. He would have been perfectly content out in the woods, out on his little property. He got some property at one point in time, and meditate all the time. But the universe was like, hey, we got this thing for you to do. He was like, all right, I'll do it. Told you I'd surrender. Whatever you want me to do. Ended up, and I don't remember what it was. It was some medical software company. Read the book. But he was amazing. And it was all about just surrendering, right? $billion guy that's like, whatever. Like, I don't really care about the dollars. I just want to go meditate. Like, I'm doing the thing until I get to go meditate, right? So cool. Anyway, there was something else I was going to say about him, but anyway, so cool stuff. I think I was making a point on why I think this is so cool because, okay, so one, it goes back to this is how relationship is built into the law, right? Because if I came to the planet to function here in, let's say, money, then in reality, I'll be content with what I have based on my physical efforts. If I'm lined up with it, right? My physical efforts, I'll never meditate about anything. I'll never intend anything. I would never, maybe I'm not an entrepreneur because I go, okay, I work for this many dollars, or I work this many hours for this many dollars, and I budget well and I'm happy, right? And actually, you know what? I'm going to back up, you guys. This person might actually, because again, guys, I'm hashing all this out as I'm talking right now. This guy could be a millionaire, a billionaire, but everything he receives is in direct correlation to his physical efforts, his physical power, right? So I write a book and I make money. He wouldn't maybe necessarily be the person who says, ooh, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to send it out into the universe. And I'm just going to trust that whoever needs it. No, he might be the guy who goes, no, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to get a publicist and I'm going to, is a publicist what you use to write a book? I don't know, whatever. I'm going to get whoever takes me on my book tour, right? And when the more book tours I show up for, the more books I sell and the more money I make, right? It's his cause and effect is in direct correlation to his physical power. Yeah, he might not ever intend anything, but he'll be content here if he's in alignment, right? And this is what's so cool about the not judging and the not judging yourself, right? Because this is, do you know why this number is so high? Because this right here is based on us living in relationship to how we've been conditioned, how we've been told. Guys, hold on, wait. That might not be true. Hold on. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think it's more like, because everyone maybe starts here. Again, it's not linear. Okay, here's what I'm going to say to this. The reason that people are predominantly here is because we all got to start somewhere in our human body, right? We're all born into Adam, guys. Okay? We're all born into Adam, into our human, right? But not everybody is going to have a big awakening in a human experience, which is why this is so small. Not because these people are pieces of shit and they didn't evolve. It's because some people came to the planet to do something different. These people didn't. They didn't come to do all that. Because, guys, guess what? I will say that this, as our identity, I have to know myself well. I have to have a lot of self-awareness, a lot of letting go of wrongness, right? And that takes a lot because it's actually working against the normal flow of our human experience, which is just do what you're told, follow the rules, fly under the radar, don't make waves, don't be rebellious, just, go to college, get a job, right? Right? So this is kind of being in the flow of the physical world. And as we evolve through this, because I'm still evolving through something, if I so choose, I have to kind of do the opposite of this, right? So now I'm choosing to believe things that are very different. Kind of like, if you guys are in this container, it's going to be cool. Am I really been going for 42 minutes? Holy crap. Okay, I'm almost done. Things like parallel universes. Over here, these people, no parallel universes. Here, there might even be weirdness with parallel universes. Here, maybe you're toying with it, right? The law of attraction, not here. No awareness of the law of attraction here. Some here, right? So these are beliefs of spiritual laws. These are beliefs of physical laws. These are beliefs of spiritual laws. And if we're born into Adam, then it's easy to believe the physical laws, right? But I'm moving out of functioning only from physical laws as I evolve. Guys, I'm so grateful that you stuck with me for 43 minutes. And thank you for letting me hash that out. And this was super fun. And I'm super excited. And you're going to get more of this. And I know that there's some of you who are in this container who came in from different places. And y'all don't ever have to watch this. And if this isn't your jam, you probably won't watch this. And you'll never care. But I'm not going to be mad if you guys start leaving this container, because I've made a major shift in the last couple weeks, and the last Sunday was a big one for me. Maybe it was Monday. Anyway, it was pretty profound, and like everything that was keeping me resistant to freely being me is almost all gone. I thought it was gone before. You know what? I'm not even going to say it's almost all gone. As far as I'm aware. But I love Jesus, and I love the Bible, and I love God. And as much as I've told you guys that that's kind of my bent, I also say, oh, but if you believe this, and it's still the same, but I taught in ways that really catered to all of the understandings instead of just speaking from my paradigm. And that's the paradigm I'm going to be speaking from now on. So I get it if you don't agree or that doesn't resonate with you. So I just want you guys to know some things are shifting, and you'll. Oh, that was the weirdest thing. I don't even know. So the power went out for a second. So my computer went black. I don't know if it was still recording. I guess it was still live, and you guys were sitting there watching me do this. Or it went black for you too. I don't know. Anyway, here's my point. I'm just going to, I've got some shifting happening. And so if you dig this new shift, then awesome. Welcome to the party. And if you don't, I totally get it. And I love you. And we'll always be here. Okay, guys, have an awesome day. I can't wait to see what's going to come through for next week. And, oh, by the way, Gina's got a class coming up. So, M-Free 101, Human and Spirit Laws. I got a workshop. If you happen to catch this, I got a workshop going on Saturday with money. And what else? There was we started a podcast all about M-Free. Fuck yeah. And I think I am going to start a podcast, Money, God, and the Fuck Word. So if that's fun for you, come play with me.